we'll take a look at how to complete the Value B assignment. In this assignment, you're going to be drawing in perspective to create a cityscape. When we draw in perspective, we're always creating lines that move toward a vanishing point. In this particular case, you're going to be drawing in what's known as two-point perspective. So we're going to begin by creating a horizon line and placing those vanishing points on our horizon line. Take your Bezier curve tool and create a horizon line anywhere on the paper that you want. It's kind of fun to experiment and see where the horizon line changes your view on the cityscape. The horizon line is where your eye level, or where the viewer's eye level would be. Now, these areas that are beyond the gray rectangle, you're not going to be able to see. But we're going to place our vanishing points in this area. So we're just going to make a cross line. Come on, you. That indicates where our vanishing points are. And the actual vanishing point is the intersection of those two lines. Now we're going to create our building by beginning by making one vertical line. This is going to indicate the corner of your building. Double click to finish off that line. Now connect the top of that line to your vanishing point on the left. Click and double click connecting the bottom of the line. Do the same thing for the top, but this time bring it to the right. Now to create the building itself, we have to put in some more vertical lines. And these need to be parallel to the sides of your canvas area in order to maintain that illusion. Now these lines are going to be removed later. These are merely guidelines. And so we're creating them on this one layer, and then we're going to remove this layer later. Let's make a taller building that's sitting somewhat behind this building. Again, I'm going to start with my vertical line. Double click to end that. And again, taking to the vanishing point. Remember, every line that's going back into space must go to that vanishing point. It doesn't matter if it's windows, doors, decorations, everything will head to that vanishing point. Draw a vertical line that will divide it. Now, we're kind of making it where it's see-through, but I'll show you what we're going to do with this in just a minute. Now we've created a lines layer, and we're going to create shapes to fill in those areas. And these are going to be our guidelines. So let's create a new layer. And, oops, that was the wrong thing. Cancel that. We need layers. Shift Control L, add a layer. And we're going to call this one color, just so we can keep it straight from our other one. Okay, lock layer 1 so that you don't accidentally use that one, and let's begin with our color layer. Now we're going to take our rectangle tool, and we're going to stretch a rectangle over the top of this shape. Now notice that it does not fit exactly. We have to stretch it, which means we're going to use our node tool. We're going to edit paths by nodes, and so we're going to click this figure 8 to change it to a path. Now I'm able to stretch these independently and fit them into these sides. Now at this point, you're going to need to think about where your light source is coming from, because the area where your light source is coming from is obviously going to be brighter than the area that's in shadow. I'm going to have my light source come from the upper right, and so this front side of my building is going to be brighter than my backside. Now, let's take a look at this color that we've also used to fill this. It looks like its opacity is not set all the way. So let's kind of take a look at this fill and stroke and notice the opacity's down. So if you see your lines through that, that's what your opacity needs to be brought back up again. And of course I can change that. You can use any color to make your building that you choose. But I do want this color to be a darker shade than the front side. Let's get another rectangle. And we are going to, again, stretch out a rectangle. And, actually it was kind of easy to have that opacity low because then I could see through it to see my lines. All right, so now I'm going to convert that path here and then stretch that down to fit inside. When we draw things in perspective, they're sloping in towards that vanishing point. I want to get my corners nice and straight here. Now I know that this front side is going to be lighter, so I'm going to lighten that up. Now be creative with this. This is just for a quick tutorial. You can, think of fun color schemes. We can also add gradients to these by using these tools up here. So there's a number of different things that you can do to make this interesting. Okay, so here's one building. Let's use this same technique to fill in this other building in the back. And I'm going to bring that opacity down again because, boy, that was easy to see. Edit by nodes, edit my path, and bring that down like this. And just get that to fit. Let's bring our opacity up. And I think I'm going to change a color so that I don't really want that red color. Let's make this one purple. All right. And I'm still want a light purple because the light's hitting it there. Now notice that it's overlapping, and that doesn't make any sense because our eye knows that when things are higher on the picture plane like that it is behind this other one. So I need to move this piece behind. And so I'm going to click my black arrow here, my selection tool, and I'm just going to move that back a layer. Okay? And it looks like it might be a little bit off here. I'm going to stretch that up to fit that line a little better. Okay, now let's do the other one that's behind here. Now, it's not going to be so important because it's going to be hidden about the bottom, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. I am going to change my color and make it darker. And again, I need to edit paths by nodes, stretch this up. And of course, send that to the back one layer. Now, I think that if we remove the lines layer and just make that where we can't see that, you can kind of see how now we have some forms that appear to be sitting in space. Now, if we want to create an illusion of a landscape or a cityscape, we're going to need to leave that horizon and we're going to have to put in a sky. We're going to do that also by using rectangles. Now, my ground rectangle, let's say I'm going to have some grass here, so let's kind of spin this around. Okay, and I'm going to move that to the back. Oops, I got to go back one more, see? Let's send that all the way to the back. There we go. Now let's make a sky, and so I'm going to do another rectangle. That's going to be my sky. And let's see, it's kind of a colorful sky scene here. And I think I'm going to use a gradient. Now when I use my gradient, the light is this side here. So if I pull that dot down, it's going to change where my gradient is, and I want that lightest area to be wherever my light source is. So let's say it's like a sunrise here. Well, we're going to have all of that moved to the back. Again, let's take a look at what this looks like without the lines layer. And now you can kind of see that I have the beginnings of a rather Eastery looking cityscape. Now let's look at our lines again. And remember that if I want to create windows, I'm going to do the very same thing. Let's unlock our lines layer and start working on our lines layer. I'm going to lock my color layer. I may even, let's see. I was going to get rid of my color layer, but let's just pull. If I drag this underneath, then my lines can show up. All right, so I'm going to click on my tool again here. And let's say I want to put some windows in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start at that same line and pull a line down to my vanishing point. Oops, except I'm on the wrong layer. That's why I keep it locked. All right, let's go up here. I'm going to take and pull a line down like this. Just double click. Pull another line down. Notice that goes to the vanishing point. Again, make my parallel lines here. Parallel line here. And as things move back in space, they get closer together. So if I want this to really look like these windows are the same size, but they're going back in space, I'm going to make them look like they're closer together. Now, I don't think I got that exactly right. So if I want to take and move one of those lines, I can. I'm going to take and just move this over this way. Now, it's not going to be quite long enough there. Let's see. Yeah, that's all right. What's this one here? All right. So same kind of thing with doors. You've just got to make sure that everything goes back to the vanishing point. All right. And when we start doing the insides of windows, let's say we wanted to get really fancy and we wanted to put some interiors on these windows. I again take this to the vanishing point. Let me show you what I mean here. I'm going to bring a line down this way. Bring another line down this way. Now, go into my color layer. Let's put in some window frames. So again, using the same rectangle idea here. Doesn't really matter what color we've got going just yet. I'm going to make this fit this skinny little rectangle here. Okay, and this line for this place right here needs to go back to that other vanishing point, so it's going to line up here. Okay, now we're going to do another piece here. And I can create a window frame. This way, now let's change those colors. Make it dark. Okay, and now I want to do an inside of the window, so I'm going to come in here and again just modify that to fit. You can see how these lines are just guidelines. Modify that to fit here. Stretch that in there. All right, let's make that darker. And we get rid of our lines layer. Well, it's not lined up, but you kind of get the idea here. That you can create this 3D effect by using these shapes, but make sure that your windows also go back to the vanishing point. Everything must go back to that vanishing point. Boy, I got these really screwed up. It's going to take a little bit of adjustment. All right, hopefully this has been helpful to kind of give you the basics. Please let me know if you still have other questions about how to complete this project. Be creative and have fun making your cityscape. I will see you next time. Bye.